What if one day the Nile stopped flowing? Would Egypt still exist? The question lingers, daring us to imagine the impossible. From above, a fragile green ribbon cuts through an endless sea of desert, the heartbeat of life across North Africa. White felucca sails drift silently, while pyramids veiled in silver mist pierce the horizon like eternal sentinels. This is not merely a river, it is the lifeblood of a civilization. The pulse of history. The immortal memory of humankind. For over 5 millennia, the Nile has given Egypt not only water to survive, but also myth, faith, and an unyielding dream of eternity. Here, the everyday merges with the divine. Every grain of silt carries a story of farmers, of pharaohs, of gods. Our journey begins here at Giza, where pyramids rise as stairways to the heavens. In Luxor, where walls and ceilings whisper the spells of the afterlife. Through Fayum, an oasis where nature, art, and agriculture intertwine. And to Siwa, the desert solitude, where an oracle once confirmed Alexander the Great's destiny. Egypt will not appear as a museum frozen in time, but as a living being, breathing, enduring, resonating. Beneath the gold, beyond the mummies, lies the truth. Egypt is humanity's hidden jewel, once called the gift of the Nile. It is in truth the gift of immortality. And today, we come not just to witness Egypt, but to feel the eternal current of the river, and to touch the immortal soul of a civilization. Egypt's civilization is among the oldest continuous cultures in the world. It emerged as a unified polity around 3100 BCE under King Narmer, who is credited with merging Upper and Lower Egypt into a single kingdom. This foundational event established the template for pharaonic rule, inaugurating a cultural and political continuity that would last, in various forms, for over 3,000 years. The monumental architecture of ancient Egypt stands as a testament to its enduring legacy. The Great Pyramid of Giza, constructed during the reign of Pharaoh Khufu, remains the last standing wonder of the ancient world. Its precise orientation, massive scale, and enduring mystery have inspired awe across the ages. The ancient Egyptians were also innovators in science and technology, notably. They developed the 365-day calendar, meticulously calibrated to the annual flooding of the Nile, and the heliacal rising of the star Sirius. This allowed them to predict the inundation that transformed the narrow valley into a fertile agricultural heartland. Hieroglyphs, the written script of ancient Egypt, were not mere tools of communication. Rather, they were sacred symbols believed to possess magical power. Inscribed on tombs, temples, and papyri. Hieroglyphs gave voice to the gods, preserved royal decrees, and crucially, ensured the immortality of the deceased by naming them for eternity. Egypt's geography is defined by the striking contrast between the vast, arid expanse of the Sahara Desert, one of the harshest environments on Earth, and the narrow, fertile corridor of the Nile. This river has been Egypt's lifeline for millennia, transforming barren land into lush agricultural fields, sustaining dense populations along its banks. Beyond the Nile, Egypt's natural landscapes are astonishingly diverse and often otherworldly. The Sinai Mountains rise dramatically, forming rugged peaks and valleys that have long served as both a natural barrier and a spiritual frontier. In the Western Desert, the White Desert captivates with its surreal chalk formations. Sculpted by wind into shapes resembling alien sculptures. While the Black Desert presents volcanic hills and dark basalt rocks that contrast sharply with the surrounding sands. Along the Red Sea coast, coral reefs teem with marine life. Creating vibrant underwater ecosystems that are a paradise for divers and researchers alike. Egypt's natural heritage also includes the Fayum Oasis, a verdant microcosm of biodiversity where lakes, wetlands, and fertile farmland coexist with archaeological treasures. Even man-made landscapes like Lake Nasser showcase the interaction between humans and nature. creating a massive reservoir that supports both ecological diversity and local communities. These landscapes are not just visually striking. They are deeply intertwined with the country's culture, history, and mythology. Making Egypt a place where nature itself feels sacred and extraordinary. The spiritual world of ancient Egypt was teeming with gods, many of whom were embodied in the forms of animals. Sobek, the crocodile god, was both feared and revered as a symbol of strength and fertility. Taweret, the hippopotamus goddess, offered protection to women and children, while Bastet, the cat goddess, was invoked for her grace and domestic guardianship. The Egyptian calendar was punctuated by festivals, such as the Opet festival, which reenacted divine power through processions along the Nile, reinforcing the link between the king, the gods, and the natural world. Funerary rites in Egypt were among the most complex and sophisticated in human history. Mummification, the opening of the mouth ceremony, and the weighing of the heart were not simply religious rituals, but crucial acts ensuring the deceased's passage into the afterlife. For the Egyptians, death was not an end, but a transformation, a continuation of existence on another plane, contingent upon proper ritual and remembrance. Beneath the grandeur of pyramids and temples, the everyday genius of the Egyptians quietly shaped the foundations of civilization. Their mastery of mathematics, especially the elegant use of fractions, allowed them to measure and redistribute land each time the Nile's floods redrew its boundaries. In the marketplace, taxes paid not in coin but in beer and geese reveal an economy both practical and sophisticated. And in a world where many women lived in silence, Egyptian women held uncommon rights to own property, to seek divorce, and even to rule as pharaohs. These achievements, woven into daily life, remind us that Egypt's legacy is not only carved in stone, but also lived in the laws, knowledge, and freedoms of its people. The Nile is not only Egypt's lifeline, but also the heart of a remarkably complex ecosystem. Along its fertile banks thrived papyrus reeds, rich farmlands, and an abundance of wildlife, from migratory birds at Lake Karun to the powerful Nile crocodile, apex predator of the river. Yet, in the worldview of the ancient Egyptians, these animals were never just creatures of flesh and instinct. They were embodiments of divine presence. The crocodile, feared and revered, was sanctified in the god Sobek, depicted with the head of a crocodile and the body of a man. Sobek was at once destructive and protective. Embodying the river's dual nature, the danger of its currents and creatures, and the fertility it brought to the land. Temples at Kom Ombo even preserved mummified crocodiles as offerings, turning the predator into a guardian of life and rebirth. Equally ambivalent was the hippopotamus. While male hippos were feared as symbols of chaos and violence, the female hippopotamus inspired the goddess Taweret, protector of childbirth and motherhood. Her image, part hippopotamus, part crocodile, part lion, stood in households as a talisman for fertility and safe delivery, showing how the Egyptians found guardianship even in the most fearsome creatures. And then, in contrast to the raw power of crocodiles and hippos, there was the cat, graceful, agile, and fiercely protective of home and family. The cat was deified as Bastet, goddess of love, music, and domestic joy. To harm a cat was a crime against the divine itself. Cats embodied the intimate, everyday side of Egyptian spirituality, where the divine walked softly inside the household. In this way, Egypt's ecology became a living theology. The animals of the Nile and desert were not only vital to survival, but also living symbols of cosmic order. From Sobek's rivers to Tauret's motherhood and Bastet's gentle guardianship, the natural world was transformed into a sacred map of divine forces, teaching Egyptians that every creature, every reed, amrush, and every ripple of the Nile carried echoes of the gods. At dawn, as the red sun rises above the eastern horizon, the colossal stones of the Giza plateau ignite with light. Beams of gold sweep across the face of Khufu's pyramid and trace the shoulders of the mighty Sphinx. This is not merely a spectacle of stone and sunlight. It is a living testament to a civilization's unyielding quest for immortality. Here, the three pyramids, Khufu, Khafra, and Menkaure, stand like monumental stairways to the heavens. Guiding the souls of pharaohs from earth to the stars. To the ancient Egyptians, death was not an end, but a passage into eternity. And at Giza, that belief was carved into the desert itself. Transformed into monuments that have withstood 5,000 years. Beside them, the Sphinx keeps silent watch. A lion's body with a human face, an enigmatic hybrid embodying both wisdom and power. Was it Khafra's own visage? Or simply a symbol of divine might? The answer remains hidden, but its gaze has never wavered. Fixed on the horizon, as if guarding the pharaoh's eternal secrets. To the south, the vast necropolis of Saqqara stretches across the sands. It was here that the genius architect Imhotep conceived the step pyramid of Djoser. The world's first monumental stone building. No longer just a simple mastaba, but 6 rising tiers, stacked one upon another, forming a colossal stairway to the sky. This was a revolution in architecture. A declaration that humanity could shape eternity with its own hands. Yet Saqqara's story goes beyond kings. Hidden deep underground lies the Serapeum, the resting place of the sacred Apis bulls. To Egyptians, the Apis was not a mere animal. It was the living manifestation of Ptah, god of creation and fertility. Massive granite sarcophagi, weighing dozens of tons, enshrined these animals with reverence equal to pharaohs, reflecting a belief that even beasts shared in the promise of eternal life. The funerary rituals practiced here were profound in symbolism. Mummification preserved the body as a vessel for the soul's return. The opening of the mouth ceremony restored the senses of the dead, enabling them to eat, drink, and breathe in the afterlife. And in the weighing of the heart, the soul faced ultimate judgment. If the heart was lighter than the feather of Maat, the deceased earned eternal life. If heavier, it was devoured by Ammit, the fearsome monster of the underworld. These rites were not mere superstition, they were a philosophy of morality and cosmic justice. Contrary to the popular myth of enslaved laborers, archaeology reveals that pyramid builders were skilled workers. Well-fed and organized in rotating crews, paid in bread and beer. They built not out of coercion, but as a duty tied to the rhythm of the Nile's floods. On the stones, they left graffiti nicknames, jokes, boast small echoes of laughter and pride etched into eternity. From the pyramids, rising like stairways to eternity at Giza and Saqqara, the journey along the Nile leads us southward into a land where eternity is not merely carved in stone, but painted in vibrant colors. And embedded within sacred rituals. This is Luxor, ancient Thebes. A city that once held the spiritual and political heart of Egypt, where humans sought to commune directly with the divine. And where the Nile itself served as a conduit between the worlds of the living and the dead. On the east bank, the monumental temples of Karnak and Luxor dominate the horizon like gateways to the universe. At Karnak, the vast hypostyle hall rises with a forest of towering columns. Each intricately inscribed with hieroglyphs depicting pharaohs performing cosmic rituals to uphold Maat, the order of the world. Here, the line between heaven and earth blurred. As priests chanted, incense filled the air. And the pharaoh's presence was both a temporal and spiritual anchor. Each year, during the festival of Opet, sacred statues of Amun, Mut, and Khonsu were carried on elaborately decorated barges along the Nile. The river itself transformed into a channel of divinity. Reflecting torchlight and the devotion of citizens who lined its banks to witness the procession. Reinforcing the sacred bond between humans, gods, and the eternal authority of the pharaoh. Crossing to the West Bank. The atmosphere shifts dramatically. This is no longer the land of the living, but the threshold to the afterlife. In the Valley of the Kings, tombs are carved deep into cliffs, their walls alive with painted narratives detailing the soul's journey through the underworld. As guided by the Book of the Dead, every depiction of gods, serpents, and celestial landscapes was meant to ensure safe passage into eternity. The Valley of the Queens offers equally mesmerizing artistry. Where the tomb of Nefertari glows with vibrant frescoes, and a ceiling dotted with countless stars, creating a personalized cosmos for a queen whose life and afterlife were intertwined with the divine. Nearby, the mortuary temple of Hatshepsut rises gracefully against the cliffs, a symphony in stone. Its terraces and colonnades blending with the natural landscape, a testament to the power and vision of one of Egypt's most remarkable female pharaohs. Funerary rites here were deeply ceremonial, far beyond mere farewells. Professional female mourners wailed in ritualized cries, their voices believed to guide the soul safely into eternity. Remarkably, traces of these customs survive in modern Nubian communities, forming a living link between past and present. Where grief and devotion are still expressed through ritual. Yet life in Luxor was not only about death and divinity. Along the riverbanks, farmers tilled the rich black soil nourished by the Nile. Children played amid the reeds, and the call to prayer echoed across the waters. Here, everyday life and the eternal coexisted side by side. A vivid illustration of a civilization that saw divinity woven into the rhythms of the mundane. In Luxor, the Nile carries not only water, but memory, culture, and the ever-present pulse of the divine, creating a city where eternity flows alongside life in a continuous sacred current. Aswan, located at the southern frontier of Egypt, has long been regarded as the gateway to Nubia, a land marked by cultural exchange, strategic importance, and monumental ambition. Here, the Nile widens and slows, mirroring sunlit cliffs and palm-dotted islands that embody a unique blend of history, spirituality, and everyday life. For millennia, Aswan has held both practical and symbolic meaning. Standing as the place where the life-giving river meets the harsh desert. and where Egyptian civilization touched the borders of Africa. Not far from the city lies the Temple of Philae, dedicated to the goddess Isis. Originally built on Philae Island, it faced submersion after the construction of the Aswan High Dam and the rising waters of Lake Nasser. Thanks to a remarkable UNESCO rescue project, every block of the temple was carefully moved and reconstructed on Agilkia Island, preserving its grandeur and sacred atmosphere. Nearby, the unfinished obelisk in its quarry provides invaluable insight into the scale and technical mastery of ancient Egyptian artisans, offering a direct connection to their extraordinary skill and ambition. Yet Aswan is more than a collection of ancient monuments. It pulses with the vitality of Nubian culture. In the bustling markets, music fills the air, while stalls overflow with colorful textiles, silver jewelry, and houses painted bright blue to ward off evil spirits. These traditions, passed down through generations, create a living bridge between the past and the present. In the 20th century, the Aswan High Dam reshaped the region by supplying hydroelectric power and irrigation. But at the same time, flooded villages and submerged heritage sites. This duality reflects the enduring tension between development and preservation. Despite such challenges, Nubian culture remains vibrant and resilient. Its music, festivals, language, and storytelling continue to weave a rich cultural fabric that ties Egypt's ancient legacy to its modern identity. Along these serene yet commanding waters of the Nile, history and daily life coexist. Temples whisper of pharaohs and gods, while the river continues to nourish the spirit of a civilization. Among the wonders of southern Egypt, Abu Simbel stands out as a monumental testament to the vision of Pharaoh Ramses II. Carved directly into towering sandstone cliffs, the site features the Great Temple with 4 colossal seated statues of Ramses at its entrance, each over 20 meters high. These figures radiate permanence and authority, symbolizing both royal power and divine association. Inside, the temple is aligned with such astronomical precision that twice a year, the rising sun penetrates its inner sanctuary to illuminate statues of Ramses and the gods. This rare phenomenon embodies the perfect union of engineering, religion, and symbolism. Reaffirming the pharaoh's dual role as earthly ruler and divine intermediary. Close by stands the Temple of Nefertari, one of the most profound tributes to female power in antiquity. With its intricately carved reliefs and preserved colors, it immortalizes the queen, celebrating her influence and her partnership with Ramses in both political and spiritual life. This rare recognition underscores the exceptional role of Nefertari, presenting her not merely as consort, but as an essential figure in the shared authority of the royal household. From its inception, Abu Simbel was designed as both a place of worship and a declaration of Egyptian dominance over Nubia. Centuries later, the temples themselves became the focus of another extraordinary feat of preservation. In the 1960s, when the rising waters of Lake Nasser threatened to engulf the site after the construction of the Aswan High Dam, UNESCO launched a massive relocation project. Each block of the temples was cut, transported, and reassembled at a higher location, ensuring their survival for future generations. Today, Abu Simbel stands not only as a marvel of ancient architecture, but also as a symbol of modern heritage preservation. It represents a timeless union of stone, light, and faith, a monument to human ingenuity, devotion, and resilience. Rising above the desert cliffs, it continues to inspire awe, embodying the enduring greatness of ancient Egypt. Cairo, Egypt's sprawling capital, is a city where antiquity and modernity meet in constant dialogue. Its streets hum with horns, vendors, and prayer calls. Yet among the chaos lie treasures spanning centuries. One of the most remarkable is the Mosque of Ibn Tulun, built in the 9th century, with its vast courtyard and spiral minaret. It embodies both austerity and grandeur, offering a quiet refuge where history lingers in atmosphere rather than relics. On the city's eastern heights, the Citadel of Cairo commands the skyline. Raised by Saladin in the 12th century, it has withstood centuries of conflict. Within its walls stands the Mosque of Muhammad Ali, a 19th century Ottoman masterpiece whose domes and minarets define Cairo's silhouette. From its courtyard, the city unfolds in layers: medieval mosques, colonial boulevards, and modern towers, each era visible, none eclipsing the other. As night falls, the Nile becomes the city's storyteller. Feluccas drift silently past, while dinner boats glow with music and laughter. Reflections shimmer across the water, carrying melodies on the breeze. Here, the river unites past and present, the same lifeblood that sustained pharaohs, now bearing Cairo's modern pulse. On its banks, time folds together, weaving ancient and contemporary, sacred and secular, into the living fabric of Egypt's capital. Beyond the fertile banks of the Nile, Egypt's deserts and coastline reveal landscapes that are both otherworldly and unexpectedly vibrant. These regions, seemingly harsh and inhospitable, harbor ecosystems, traditions, and stories that enrich the cultural and natural tapestry of the nation. Deep in the western desert lies the Siwa Oasis, a secluded haven known for the legendary Oracle of Amun, where even Alexander the Great was proclaimed the son of a god. Siwa's palm-lined springs, salt flats, and intricate irrigation systems illustrate how human ingenuity has adapted to the desert's harshness. Sustaining life and culture for millennia. The Berber communities here preserve unique linguistic and cultural traditions. Their mud brick architecture, social rituals, and artisanal crafts are perfectly attuned to the desert environment, reflecting a delicate balance between survival and expression. The desert itself tells stories of natural artistry and myth. The White Desert, with its chalk formations sculpted by wind over centuries. And the Black Desert, dotted with volcanic cones, create surreal landscapes that evoke both awe and introspection. Yet these seemingly empty spaces are imbued with spiritual resonance. The hippopotamus, for instance, embodies the duality of life and death, nurturing as the goddess Taweret, yet destructive as the god Set. Meanwhile, the cat, sacred to Bastet, commanded reverence to the extent that harming one, even accidentally, could incur the death penalty. These beliefs illustrate how animals and the desert itself became intertwined with spiritual understanding and moral codes. On Egypt's eastern edge, the Red Sea coastline bursts with life and color. Coral reefs teem with fish, sponges, and marine plants. Creating a haven for divers and naturalists alike. Coastal towns like Sharm el-Sheikh, Hurghada, Dahab, and El Gouna blend the rhythm of local life with tourism, offering both relaxation and exploration, while showcasing the biodiversity of the region. Here, the arid desert meets the vibrant sea, highlighting Egypt's ecological contrast, the stark, silent expanses of sand giving way to teeming aquatic life. Together, the Western Desert and the Red Sea illustrate the extremes of Egypt's landscapes. From the spiritual isolation of desert oases to the pulsating ecosystems under the waves, these regions extend the story of the Nile, reminding us that Egypt's vitality is not confined to its river valley. Even beyond the lifeblood of the Nile, culture, myth, and natural wonder persist, revealing a land where every corner tells a story of adaptation, belief, and survival. Journeying along the Nile reveals a constellation of temples that embody both artistic mastery and profound devotion. Each a chapter in Egypt's sacred narrative. At Abidos, the Temple of Seti. I stands as one of the finest architectural achievements of the New Kingdom. Its limestone walls are carved with reliefs so delicate and precise that they seem almost to breathe with divine presence. Scenes of gods and kings unfold in remarkable detail. Their lines softened yet luminous even after millennia. Within these halls lies the celebrated Abidos king list, a chronological record of pharaohs, inscribed as both history and sacred lineage. Abidos itself held a special place in Egyptian belief as the cult center of Osiris, god of resurrection. Pilgrims once traveled from across the land to honor him here, seeking blessings in life and assurance in death. The temple thus resonates not merely as a monument of stone, but as a sanctuary of memory and rebirth. Extending beyond Seti's temple, the sacred landscape of Abidos stretches across necropolises, cenotaphs, and shrines that anchored Egypt's connection to eternity. The nearby temple of Ramses II, though less celebrated than Seti's masterpiece, reinforces the site's enduring sanctity. Its reliefs depict military triumphs and offerings to the gods, merging political power with divine legitimacy. For the ancient Egyptians, Abidos was more than a city of the dead. It was a spiritual gateway, the place where earthly existence touched the realm of the eternal. Festivals of Osiris once animated its streets with ritual dramas reenacting the god's death and resurrection, binding communities together in cycles of renewal. The journey north along the Nile leads us to Dendera, where the Temple of Hathor rises like a vision of color and stone preserved against time. To step into its hypostyle hall is to feel as though you've entered another world above. The ceiling blooms with constellations, winged goddesses, and bands of stars sweeping across a painted sky. Even after 2,000 years, the pigments glow with astonishing vibrancy, and for a moment, the ancient heavens seem to open once more. In the age of the pharaohs, this was not merely a building, it was the heart of celebration. Hathor, goddess of love, music, and joy, was honored here with festivals that filled the courtyards with song, incense, and the rhythm of drums. Pilgrims gathered as her statue was carried in procession, a living presence among them, believed to bring fertility, abundance, and divine favor. The temple itself was designed to echo this spirit of joy. Its massive columns crowned with Hathor's gentle face. Her features watching over worshippers as both mother and muse. But Dendera also carried secrets. Beneath its floors, narrow crypts twist into hidden spaces, their walls carved with sacred images meant for only the initiated to see. High above, rooftop chapels open directly to the sky, where rituals once connected earth and heaven in moments of cosmic alignment. It was here that priests studied the movements of the stars, preserving the famed zodiac of Dendera, a carved map of the universe that fused myth and astronomy into a single vision of order. Today, the temple feels suspended between worlds. Tourists walk where ancient priests once sang hymns, and the air carries a strange resonance, as if fragments of music and laughter still linger in the stones. Dendera reminds us that for the Egyptians, joy itself was sacred. To honor Hathor was to embrace life, music, and love as divine gifts, woven into the very fabric of the cosmos. Rising on a bend of the Nile where the river narrows and currents quicken, Kom Ombo occupies a place both strategic and symbolic. Unlike any other temple in Egypt, it is dedicated not to a single deity, but to two: Horus the Elder, falcon god of protection, and Sobek, crocodile god of fertility, and the Nile's unpredictable power. This duality is reflected in the very architecture of the temple. Twin entrances open onto mirrored halls, each leading to its own sanctuary. Every element, from doorways to inner chambers, is carefully balanced, embodying the cosmic principle that opposing forces order and chaos. Life and death must coexist in harmony. The temple's walls carry more than myth. They also bear a rare glimpse into daily life and knowledge. Among the finely carved reliefs are depictions of surgical instruments, scalpels, forceps, and probes, suggesting that Kom Ombo served as a center of healing as well as worship. Scenes of offerings and rituals illustrate the fusion of medicine and religion, where divine blessing was inseparable from human skill. The nearby Crocodile Museum, housing mummified crocodiles once venerated as embodiments of Sobek, adds another layer to this intertwining of faith, nature, and the cycles of the Nile. As evening falls, Kom Ombo is transformed. The sandstone walls take on a golden glow under the setting sun, while the Nile at its feet shimmers in shifting hues of silver and fire. The calls of waterfowl echo across the river, mingling with the laughter of villagers, and the soft lapping of oars. In these moments, the temple feels alive, not merely as a relic of the past, but as a bridge between human community, natural world, and divine order. Kom Ombo's enduring beauty lies in this balance. It's a sanctuary where two gods shared equal honor, where healing and worship intertwined, and where the eternal rhythm of the Nile continues to mirror the duality carved into its stones. Among the most poignant chapters in Egypt's modern history of preservation are the temples of Philae and Kalabsha, monuments once threatened by the rising waters of Lake Nasser. Their survival reflects not only the endurance of Egypt's ancient heritage, but also the collective will of nations to safeguard humanity's treasures. Philae Temple, devoted to the goddess Isis, once stood on a sacred island, revered since antiquity. With the construction of the Aswan High Dam, the temple was at risk of submersion. Its sanctuaries slowly sinking beneath the Nile. In a monumental feat of engineering led by UNESCO, the complex was carefully dismantled block by block and reassembled on nearby Agilkia Island, preserving both its form and spirit. Today, its colonnades and sanctuaries rise gracefully above the waters, their carvings alive with myths of divine motherhood, death, and resurrection. At sunset, the temple glows in soft hues of gold and rose, its reflection shimmering upon the river as if the goddess herself still blesses the sacred isle. In the evening, sound and light performances transform the temple into a theater of myth, where the story of Isis and Osiris resonates under the stars. Not far away, the Temple of Kalabsha shares a similar fate and triumph. Originally constructed during the Roman era, it was dedicated to the Nubian sun god Mandulus. Blending pharaonic tradition with imperial influence. Its towering pylons, robust walls, and finely detailed reliefs reveal both continuity and transformation in Egypt's sacred architecture. Like Philae, Kalabsha was moved stone by stone to higher ground, where it now overlooks the vast expanse of Lake Nasser. Against this dramatic backdrop of water and desert, the temple feels like a sentinel of memory, linking the spiritual currents of ancient Nubia with the pragmatic triumphs of modern preservation. Alongside the grandeur of temples and the solemnity of tombs, life along the Nile thrived with commerce, trade, and social interaction. Ancient Egypt was not only a civilization of faith and monumental architecture, but also one sustained by networks of exchange that linked villages, towns, and cities, shaping both economic and social rhythms. The Nile served as a natural highway, connecting Upper and Lower Egypt. Boats carried grain, pottery, papyrus, and stone along the river's green arteries, ensuring prosperity throughout the land. In bustling riverside towns, markets overflowed with energy. Merchants displayed goods beneath palm canopies, calling out to buyers and bargaining in lively exchanges. Grain from fertile fields could be traded for fish, dates, or livestock. Beer, essential for daily life and ritual, often functioned as currency, while geese and poultry might pay taxes or serve in barter. These transactions reveal a society where agriculture, craftsmanship, and commerce were deeply intertwined. With the river's bounty shaping both livelihood and status, trade extended far beyond local communities. Caravans traveled south to Nubia with gold, ebony, ivory, and exotic animals, while routes north linked Egypt to the Mediterranean world, bringing olive oil, wine, and textiles. Merchants, scribes, and artisans formed the backbone of this system, carefully recording transactions on papyrus. These documents were not just receipts, but instruments of law and social order, reflecting a civilization that prized both organization and efficiency. Women played an active role in this economic landscape. Unlike many ancient cultures, Egyptian women could inherit, own property, and conduct business. Some managed workshops, sold textiles, or ran small stalls, contributing directly to both household welfare and local prosperity. Their participation demonstrates that trade was not exclusively male, but a domain where family, community, and economy intersected. This independence reveals a society ahead of its time, one where rights and responsibilities were more balanced, and where women's contributions reinforced social stability. Commerce was also bound to religion. Merchants prayed to Hapi, god of the Nile, or to Bastet for luck and protection before journeys. Seasonal fairs and temple markets combined trade with festivals, strengthening both community and devotion. In this way, the exchange of goods embodied Mayat, the principle of order and justice that underpinned Egyptian life. Even today, the rhythm of riverside markets echoes the ancient past, merchants calling out, fishermen offering their catch, farmers arriving from the fields. Ancient Egypt, therefore, was not only the land of pyramids and pharaohs, but also a living civilization of trade, cooperation, and resilience, where commerce flowed like the Nile itself, sustaining both body and society. From the pyramids of Giza to the temples of Abu Simbel, from the painted tombs of Luxor to the lush Fayum Oasis, and from the silence of the desert to the coral gardens of the Red Sea. Each site tells a chapter in Egypt's immortal story. These places are not mere relics of a vanished past. They are living witnesses to a civilization that has shaped the flow of human history. Egypt is not simply the gift of the Nile. It embodies the river's immortal soul, sustaining both the body and spirit of a people who have always looked beyond the horizon of mortality. The Nile is more than a source of water. It is a conduit of memory, faith, and creativity that continues to nourish the imagination of Egyptians. Visiting Egypt is not just about photographing the pyramids. It is about listening to the eternal echo of the river, a timeless current flowing through human life, art, and dreams. Along this journey, past and present merge with the pulse of the Nile, inviting the world to touch the soul of a civilization that, despite countless challenges, endures.